Notre Dame beat Pitt 45-3 yesterday, showing why they are ranked in the top 3. Notre Dame haters will still not be convinced. I'm actually joined by a Notre Dame skeptic, also a Notre Dame fan, Lucas. What did Notre Dame do well in this game?
Well, I like my branding as a skeptic and a fan because I think both of those things are true.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, they were pretty impressive in all three phases of the game. But there are two I really, really like to highlight that I think they did exceedingly well in. First, I think the passing game was maybe the best it's been all year. Ian Book was good, if not super efficient, at 16 and 30, or 16 for 30 passing, but 312 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks is a good all around game. If you take away the incompletions, the receivers look good. Losing Lindsey hurts, but Michael Mayer at tight end. And Javon McKinley have come into their own nicely, I feel like, in the last few weeks. And Ben Skwarnik, whose name I will still have trouble pronouncing.
Yeah.
He played well yesterday. He had 2 long touchdown catches. So losing Lindsey hurts. Losing that speed will hurt against Clemson. But I'm more encouraged at the passing game this week, especially because the running game wasn't its top 5 in the nation best this week. So really impressed by the passing game. And second was the defense, who I also think arguably played their best game all season.
Yeah.
They were markedly better than Florida State a few weeks ago. And not only did they allow only 3 points, but they also had 3 interceptions, which isn't something they've really done this year, forced a lot of turnovers. They had as many points allowed as interceptions. So while the team played well all around, despite maybe some hiccups in the running game, passing game, defense, 2 things that impressed me most.
Yeah, I pretty much have to agree. The defensive game plan was great. Every time they tried to run a bubble screen, we were completely on top of it. Like you said, if our defense creates turnovers, we go from great to elite. We're already 6th in the nation in scoring defense, and 4 teams in front of us have only played 1 game. So I mean, we're basically second in the nation. I would say. I think, with the passing game, you just don't win championships nowadays with a good rushing attack. You need to be able to score quickly on offense. With that being said, yeah, like you said, Book was still missing some really easy throws, especially running back checkdowns, which was it's just so frustrating how often it happens. And sometimes he holds the ball too long when he throws it over the middle, and that will work against Pitt, but is it going to work against Clemson? And Brian Kelly said, we're looking ahead, we're trying to play at the level to beat Clemson right now. So, and against good teams, ball placement is key. So that's one thing I'm definitely worried about is if Ian Book is going to make that next step to be able to beat Clemson. Because like I said, I think a week ago, our offense is always what holds us back.
Yeah, no, and I'm very worried about that as well. I thought it was very honest of Brian Kelly to say yeah, we're looking ahead essentially. I hope it doesn't end poorly with the Georgia Tech game or whatever, where they're looking ahead too much to Clemson and then somehow lose against a bad team. But yeah, and it's frustrating too because it feels like another not to hate on Brian Kelly because again he's a very good coach, but another classic quarterback not developing under Brian Kelly.
It's a thing.
It is. He doesn't seem to be any he's always been a good quarterback since he came in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're a good quarterback with 2 more years of eligibility left on a team that goes to the playoffs, you should develop and get better and not hold on to the ball and not miss easy throws. And it's just frustrating because I just feel like they can't contend for a title. My pessimism coming out just because he's not a Trevor Lawrence or not a Justin Fields or something like that. And having a passing game is what wins in college football now, essentially. No matter how good the line or Kyron Williams in their running game is.
Exactly. I mean, look at Alabama. They're the one of the best offenses in the nation now. They used to be the big defense team and they would run, and now they're one of the best passing offenses in the nation.
Yeah.
In terms of our passing offense, I don't know if obviously some of it is on Book missing open receivers, but also it seems like our receivers aren't open that often. I don't know if that's athleticism on our receivers' part or if it's play calling. I haven't really been able to check, but our receivers doing well has basically been Ben Skowronek, just making a great jump ball play or something like that, rather than being wide open. So I don't know if it's play calling. I mean, I was skeptical. I'm skeptical of Tom Rees still. I really liked when Chip Long was. I thought we were pretty good when was it Chip Long was calling the offense. I thought we were actually pretty good. So but I don't know. We'll see.
No, and the receiver core is also super inexperienced too. Basically none of the guys coming in have any real game experience, which I think hurts as well. And you're seeing that's another reason why they don't seem to be open a lot in the passing game isn't developing just because they're so inexperienced at this point.
Yeah. Another thing on defense, I know we just had 3 turnovers, so that's like a big talking point. But I texted you during the game, Lucas, that it seemed if our DBs would play the ball instead of the receiver more often, we would have so many more takeaways.
Oh, I agree.
They're in the right position, which is a good thing. But if they were playing the ball and looking at the ball, like first drive, we had a guy double covered. And the corner was kind of beat, but the safety came over and hit the guy instead of going for the ball. He probably could have had a pick on that play. It's just those kind of things, I think, where if we get those takeaways, we have a very good shot at beating Clemson. If we have 3 turnovers in a game, then it's very hard for any team to win if you turn the ball over 3 times. So that'd be pretty impressive.
No, I would think so too. And I mean, that's what they're essentially going to have to do to beat Clemson at this point, because I just think like player for player, if they just get into like a back and forth, like sort of like shootout slugfest with Clemson, like that's just a game they're going to lose because they're less experienced. They're probably a little less talented, and I just think that like they'd have to have some things go their way on defense, and that's probably just forcing like 2 or 3 turnovers and like giving themselves more shots to score. So I think like if they're going to be Clemson, the defense has to play like it did yesterday. That being said, it's easier to do that against Pitt than it is against Clemson. Like 3 and 4 Pitt versus like
exactly.
one of the greatest teams in college football history, maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Another thing too, this is the last thing I'll add, is that the ACC is such a boring conference. I hate that we're playing in the ACC.
So bad. Yeah.
We haven't our schedule was so interesting pre-COVID. Like we had Wisconsin on on it, and like it was super interesting. And now it's so boring. Like Clemson, we're talking about Clemson every week because that's like the only interesting game in our schedule. North Carolina maybe, but that's it.
I don't know. We've said on the normal podcast and on this podcast, North Carolina is definitely way overrated.
Yeah.
Like they're not. They won like 3 games at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
They're not that good. So, yeah, no, I think the ACC is boring, too. I remember back in, like, 2013 or 14 when Notre Dame, like, entered into the agreement. I'm like, why that?
Yeah, why the
conference?
I guess it was a non-football decision. I feel like the ACC is probably good in a lot of other sports. I don't know. I don't follow other sports. Sorry.
But, I don't know. Notre Dame's football, and they should have picked the Big Ten. But I know there's
that would make more sense.
Historical beef there or whatever. But,
yeah.